And that is a second knockout without return.
This is Blood Bowl!
Today we have a Week 7 Division 4 game from the Blood and Tears Perpetual League. My name is Jurassic and I am the head coach of Pointy Ear United, an Elven Union Team, and we are playing Nuke with the Pink Panthers, an Orc team. Both our teams are sitting in the bottom half of the table and are desperate for a win. Hopefully the Elves can come out of this game relatively unharmed and with a win to creep back up the table and prevent relegation. Let's see what happened. The Pink Panthers were able to take inducements including the Wizard, 2 Bloodweiser Kegs and Bomber Dribble Snot. This is going to be a tough match. And the ref tosses the coin. And once again, we do not win. The Pink Panthers win the toss and decide to receive. So the Elven team lined up with a very broad arrowhead. And then we saw the Orcs stack that line of scrimmage with a tail to bring the ball up. Now here comes the kick. And it's right into the back left corner. We get a brilliant coaching as well, which gives us an extra team reroll. And now we see the Pink Panthers moving to secure that ball. There's a 2 dice on the lineman. Push. Definitely wanted more from that. I think that's a mistake. Don't think he meant to do a 1 dice there. And Nuke pays with that with a attacker down on the reroll as well. Now Pointy Ear can flood the Orc backfield, making this a challenge. And I'm sure Nuke would not like to be in this position. And we see all of the Elves moving up. We have an extra reroll. We use that to dodge away. And we fail a second dodge away with a reroll. That is terrible. 2 terrible turnovers for both teams. Now Nuke has an opportunity to recover here. The Troll steps up their game and is able to move away, allowing for the blitz, which is a defender stumbled with tackle. The catcher goes down. Sets up a small cage in the center of the field. Comes up to take tackle zones on the Elven players. And he picks up the ball and runs it into that cage for the last action of the turn. Now what can the Elves do here? We go for a blitz on the corner of the cage. Get a pushback. Save the rerolls. We bring up our line of defense. We go for a 1 dice using our blitzer. Gets a knockdown. No armor break. A 1 dice on that big un. Just a pushback. Another 1 dice on a big un. Another pushback. But it gets him out of the other tackle zone. And then our other blitzer dodges away into the backfield to harass from behind. Now Nuke's turn 3. Gets a push. A lot of pushing and shoving going on this game. Defender stumbles. Comes a push. The Troll somehow. Or is it an ogre? I never know. I can never remember. And he gets a both down, re-rolls that, gets a push to move him out of the way of the ball carrier, sets up a 3-pointed box or a triangle around the ball carrier. Just a lot of pushing around. The Orcs struggling to make it into the Elven half. And we get a defender stumbles on that 2 dice to move into base to base with the ball carrier. And we get a defender down on that big un with a 1 dice. And now the blitz comes from our blitzer. Gets a push, gets 2 tackle zones on that ball carrier now. And we get another push from our lineman. Not ideal. Another 1 dice. Lots of risky 1 dices at this stage. And we get a knockout. Amazing. Yes. And our catchers move into our own half to provide support. And the wizard Harry, uses its firebolt to no effect, it seems. Our blitz comes from the blitzer on the blitzer, and it's just a push for a sidestep, moving him away from the ball carrier. And now the troll feigns stupidity and is just stood there. 2 dice block for a push. Gets a 2 dice defender down on our lineman there, but no armor break. And the ball carrier is free of tackle zones right now. Now the Elves, can we get to this ball on this turn, or do we play the longer game? We get a 1 dice on the big un for a defender down. That's good. And now our catcher is able to run in for a 1 dice push on the blitzer. Follows up, but now that blitzer is in contact with a number of bases. And we go for a 1 dice, and that is a attacker down reroll for a push. It's a real shame, but we strip the ball, and our catcher that made the blitz catches it, but is in a world of trouble next round. And we do another 1 dice, which we have to reroll, wasting a lot of rerolls here in the first half. And now the Orcs can maybe make us pay. Both down, but rerolls for a defender down. Catcher goes down, stumbles, ball bounces out to the blitzer, fails to catch, and it's out in the open once more. The troll steps up, slaps that lineman, but no armor break. Another 2 dice from the big un. Gets defender down. No armor break there either. The blitzer gets a 2 dice for a defender stumbles, and that looks like that's going to be a stunned. And now Nuke brings the Orcs to provide some coverage on that ball. We get a both down on that 2 dice block. Come on, Elves. The ball is free. What can you do? A lot of running around from the Elves. We get a 2 dice on the big un. Defender down. Then we get a 2 dice on the blitzer. Goes down. And then we get a blitz from the catcher on the lineman. Gets a defender down. Knocks him into the ball. Gets him knocked out as well. And then catches the ball. What a hero. And we get a 2 dice on the blitzer for a defender stumbles. We have the ball, but the catcher is not safe. And the troll just stands there looking stupid. Begin gets us stunned. And now the blitzer blocks the catcher. 2 dice. Defender down for a stunned. Ball comes out once again, but bounces favourably for the Orcs. And oh my, That big un has seriously injured that blitzer. But luckily the apothecary comes out seriously hurt. Thank God it's not a dislocated shoulder. Now able to pick up the ball. The big un makes a block, and I think that's the first Orc player to make it into the Elven half with that follow-up. Now we're providing a bit of coverage with our catcher there. 2 dice block on that big un, gets a push, really not what we wanted. Now the catcher runs round, does a little dodge, allowing space for our blitzer to come in, does the blitz. Defender stumbles, bit of a chain push. Where does this ball come out? And it goes right in between all of the Orc players. That is tough for the Elves, and we let the turn go. Now the Orcs are able to move to defend that ball. We get a 2 dice block there, and that's a both down, both with block. Nuke is getting some unfavourable rolls, I'm sure he would say. Lots of pushing or block defender stumbles where that defender has the skill. Now, the Elves, come on, what can you do here? Alright, we go for a blitz on the blitzer. We get a defender stumbles, ball bounces out. Where does it bounce to? Where he was just stood. Now let's just make sure we do the best we can here. Get players in the right position where needed. 2 dice a block on that lineman. And we get a defender down. Now the catcher dodges away, goes for the pickup and fails the pickup. And the ball bounces around, and that's probably not good for either team right now. Last turn for the Orcs. The troll making moves, but not really doing too much. Big Un's just pushing the Elves around. Now we get a POW. And that's a badly hurt. 2 players each off the pitch. The blitzer gets POW'd, and that's another badly hurt, so that's both blitzers off the field for the Elves. That's going to make the second half extremely tough. Off, and that's a stun for a both down. That's lucky. I think Nuke's just pushing the Elves around now. Now, if we can just get a lucky break. The ball bounces out from underneath that defender down. We get a push on the big un, and the ball bounces out once again. Not ideal. We get a wrestle. And the catcher fails the pickup once again. And that's a turnover and end of the first half. 0-0. But the Orcs will be upset that they didn't get into the Elven half and threaten in any way. Now for the second half, we see the Orcs lining up with a lighter line of scrimmage, and they still have 2 players in reserves. And the Elves line up with a aggressive front line. No one on the troll. And we have our thrower in the back ready to bring the ball up. And the kick happens, and we get changing weather, perfect conditions still. And the ball bounces into the hands of our lineman who catches it. Now the blitz from the catcher to move that big un blocker off of that player. We get another 2 dice on the lineman on the left hand side. Goes down, and then we start to move players up the left hand side of the pitch, almost like a spear into that side. Get a catcher into position, Then we also send a lineman down the right side for additional coverage on that catcher, and we hand off the ball to our thrower for the end of the turn. Now what can the Orcs do now? They gotta think the Elves are pretty wily at this stage, and the Troll steps up. Nice. And they're surrounding that right hand jab. Let's see, it looks like they're probably going to do something similar on the left. Make sure they've got plenty of players in the way. Two dice, both down. And the lineman goes down as they don't have block. Now a bomb from Dribble Snot hits 3 Elven players and 1 goes down, but is only prone, so can stand up. And he goes for a blitz on the big one, gets a push, follows up. Then our lineman steps up so that we can do a 2 dice on the other Orc lineman. We get a defender down, and then the thrower moves up to the line of scrimmage on the left hand side with coverage from our lineman. And the catcher dodges in and goes to stand next to Dribble Snot. We've got players in a number of different locations causing hassle. We see a 2 dice from the blitzer, defender down, no armor break. 2 dice from the blitzer on the other lineman, just a pushback. Now a blitz on the catcher next to Dribble Snot. Gets a push, sidestep to stay in contact. 3 dice from the troll, gets defender stumbles, and the lineman goes down for a stun. Now the Dribble Snot throws another bomb. There's 3 armor breaks, 2 stunned, and 1 knocked out. That's not going to help our cause here. And we get a blitz, 2 dice on the Orc lineman, get a defender stumbles, and he's able to continue that blitz move up. Now at this stage, I was looking at what options I had, and as I was checking to see what was possible, I accidentally activated the move. Our thrower goes for a throw over Dribble Snot to our catcher, who perfectly catches it without any problem. Can't pick up a ball, but can catch it. And then I had no other option but to run it in for a touchdown. And fortunately, he's able to make the dodges. And the ref spots Dribble Snot and sends him off. And it was at this time that Nuke conceded and asked if we could run out the game. And being a sportsman, we did so. So that was a 1-0 win for the Elves. We had a very good first half, and I'm very pleased with how that went. Still some mistakes that happened, and then we were lucky to get that touchdown in the second half. After that mistake, could have gone anywhere with that. But well played, Nuke, first half, and good luck with the rest of the league. And that moved us up into 6th place with 2 wins, 2 draws and 3 losses. And we are playing either Snuff Kinney or Rip Vedder next. And hopefully we can really move up into the top half of the table and secure ourselves from relegation.